Good evening, folks. Let us drink to love. Let us drink to men in love. First of all, I want to say, just to get this off, off my chest, in the air. It's in the air. Just to get this rid of, I acknowledge my Chinese overlords, and I want to make it clear. All my data, you can have all my data. It's freely. I admit. My name is Jane Fonda, and I live in 1411 Hollywood Boulevard, and my phone number is 717-78789-505. And and you can have all of that. That's free, and I vote. My voting habits are: I vote for anyone with a slightly Asian sounding name. So just to get that out of the way, I'm a friend. Don't cancel me, please. Having said that, I don't know if I don't know if you guys know, but I am on TikTok. I actually like TikTok. I cherish TikTok. I don't know why. I don't do dances or I don't do funny dances. So maybe I should. I wonder if that would work. A funny dance. They have this. I don't know. I don't know how to do that. But there are dances I bet I could do that. I bet I would look good doing a funny dance. Anyway, so I do like poems and weird things, similar to what I do on almost everything I do on YouTube. I do on TikTok, and if you want to visit me there, if you happen to be on TikTok, it would be too bad if the app got banned in the U.S. Though I am not one to relativate, to make smaller, to underestimate, to schönreden is what the Germans say. To talk it beautiful, to make it better than it is by talking. Schönreden. The Chinese government's will to spy on the Western world and to disrupt the Western world in any way it can. I absolutely believe that they're doing that, and I'm still on TikTok, and I still, my address, 1212 Rodeo Drive, apartment 4A. Okay, so and I in the last election I voted for Abraham Lincoln. Okay, so anyway, men, and I don't know what I do when I do this thing. During the week I ruminate. I go through life and I'm trying to do one thing, trying to do an actual job, actual work. Which will make me money or something, or will lead to something. And I'm typing and then I go, and I think of some weird, irrelevant, random thing, and I say, "Oh, this would be a good thing to talk about Friday instead of now when I'm supposed to be working." And so I write it down. I put it in my little notes app on my phone, and I write it down. And then when Friday comes around, I look up the notes app. Or I'm looking for it now. Where is it? Looking up the notes app, and I will read it to you what I wrote. But I don't understand it. What I wrote was, after everything, I think what I really yearned for all my life was love. But never in a way it really was, meaning I think, never in a way that love actually is, only in some kind of impossible way I could never precisely formulate. I can't even formulate what I was thinking of when I wrote that down, and I don't know what I was thinking of. But I have an idea, You know, when I was a kid, I suspect now that I'm older, when I was a kid, I thought that I was the only kid who thought and acted and, dreamt the way I dreamt. I thought I was unique. But now, looking back, I think probably all boys, specifically boys, and we're talking, and I find a boy as a young appendage of testosterone. Basically, that's a boy, and so boys, I think, all or most boys have a certain way of approaching life and thinking about themselves and trying to find their way in life and find out who they are. And a lot of it has to do with a kind of violence and aggression. This testosterone. I spent a lot of time reading comic books about superheroes, and of course Conan, which I've spoken about a long time. With a sword in his hand, and he's doing his own thing, and he's conquering the world. And no one can tell him what to do. He's independent of anyone. He has and these are all elements associated with testosterone. I mean, if you and I've done also this in a video before, if there's one thing that we learn from this transgender movement, this huge, highly politicized transgender issue, is that the big difference between men and women, besides clear physical differences, is testosterone. Men have more of it. And that's why, when women want to become men or men want to become women, they lop off certain parts of their bodies, and things like that. But then they go into and they take hormones, and they have to change their hormones. That's the main thing. That's the main difference between men and women, is the hormones, or it's at least I think it's probably the biggest difference. It's the hormones, and men have this testosterone, and we boys grow up with testosterone, and and I looked it up. Testosterone is encourages you, drives you to find some kind of, or yearn for some kind of social dominance. So you want to be the boys want to be independent of any kind of social hierarchy, or want to be the king or the strongest. And if they're not the strongest, they feel like they're losers. It's either they're the biggest or nothing, and that's what boys think, and men too. I think to a large extent, and I think that's testosterone. And growing up a boy, I had a huge disrespect for love and for romance. And I'm going to explain that in a kind of a boyish way, which means when I read a comic book or a storybook or watched a movie, and it was exciting, there was all kinds of, these cats are trying to kill each other. Hold on. Cats, stop that. Be nice, cats. Here. Sorry, the cats. When we read, the comic books or the action movie, and we're attracted, boys, I think most boys, I was at least, I can't talk for, but I don't want to do any cliches, but yes, I do. It's we all have the same hormones, man. There's a certain amount, a certain percentage of our makeup, of our personalities, that is universal. That is the same that all boys have. There's a large amount that is different from boy to boy, from girl to girl, from person to person, but there is also a certain amount of us that is universal, that is the same, that we all have some basic same things. And one is the testosterone among boys, and we like, the action, we like the hero, we like the fighting and the conflict. And we get off on that, and we understand it, and we want to learn how to overcome it and to win the conflict. That's important to us. And then when we're reading Spider-Man, and he's saving the world, and he's fighting with the lizard, who are these guys? I don't know, Doc Ock, the super villains. And then there's a point where he kisses Mary Jane, and I'm like, what? What does that have to do with anything? What is kisses Mary Jane? What is that? this is irrelevant to every page you draw with him kissing Mary Jane could be a page where he's chasing Doc Ock. The time you take to kiss Mary Jane, Doc Ock could be, destroying the world. What do you? This is irrelevant. And the mushy parts, we call them mushy parts. The kids probably still do. Mushy parts, it's mushy, and little boys, small boys, like up to 12, they don't like the mushy parts. And I have to admit, I'm still a 12-year-old boy, and I still am skeptical about the mushy parts. Those mushy parts. And we didn't like that because it wasn't what we were interested in. Es störte. In German, we would say es störte. It disturbed the flow. It broke up things. It wasn't wasn't inherent to the story that was being told, which was, boy's story about, testosterone and social dominance, or, whatever, And I look back on that today, and that kind of has stayed with me because this attitude towards romantic love and relationships has changed, of course, over the years, but there's always been kind of a feeling inside of a difficulty to give romance and love and relationships, like we're talking about relationships, I guess, right? Its proper priority in life. I think a lot of us men have a problem giving the correct priority to relationships that relationships actually need in our lives, human relationships, and we know that we need them. I mean, we're not stupid, right? We're that's clear, but there's still some kind of, it's still difficult. It's still a problem. There's still some kind of a problem, and I remember as an adult going to a movie which was called Taken with Liam Neeson, which was a great movie, great action movie, and I was tired of some kind of political discussion or some man-woman discussion, feminism or some blah 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 blah, and I wanted to see just an action movie and not a super CGI action movie where they put on a helmet and suddenly out of nowhere all the helmet comes together, goes, and out of nothing comes something which is nonsense. It's only happened. And I wanted to see an old style action movie where, there's a stunt man and he jumps out of the car. Okay, and it's a real stuntman. It's a real car. He really jumps out of the car. There's a mattress. He hits the mattress, or he doesn't. And that's how it's a real guy, and it's a real happening. And I wanted to, and it's a slightly closer to reality than the CGI action movies. Of course, it has nothing to do with reality, but it's slightly closer. And so I wanted to go in there. And so I went into this movie, Taken with Liam Neeson, and and it was during the day, because I was just kind of, trying to get all this crap out of my mind and see something real, an action movie with Liam Neeson. And so I went and sat down and I looked around, and there were like, it was a fairly empty theater. It was the middle of the day, and the theater, there were like, 10 other guys, all of them guys. I think it was one couple, but they were mainly guys, and they were sitting like away from each other, like in a porn theater or something. I think they were all like me. They're kind of slightly ashamed, when I'm trying to be a progressive kind of a modern guy, kind of a little bit intellectual, I don't go to action movies. I read James Joyce, and, I'm kind of a feminist, and that's an old style of, manhood. I'm above that, that's below me. And I think all those guys were like that, but they all had, an argument with their wives, and so, which they of course lost. And so they said, I gotta do so. And so they went to the movie. They're sitting alone, hoping that no one sees them, no one notices that I'm here watching this movie, an action movie with Liam Neeson. And let me tell you, it was a great action movie, and I'll tell you why. And this is what stunned me. And it stunned me also as a writer, because it's part of it is about writing, but part of it is about living, and of course writing is also about living. When you learning to write is learning about your life, and vice versa. The thing is, most of the movie is about him killing Arabs, basically. I guess it's Arabs, Arabian people, or something. Saudis, I don't know. So for foreigners, right? I guess it's in Paris or something. And he's a guy, he has a skill set, he's a CIA or a Navy SEAL guy or something. And his daughter is kidnapped. Okay, so his daughter is kidnapped by these guys, and they're being in Paris, and she's going to be sold to an Arab sheik. She's drugged up, and helpless, and it's mentioned it's human trafficking, and so he goes to Paris and hunts down these guys and kills all of them. So 90% is him killing Arabs, basically, and doing superhuman feats of things that people do not actually do in real life. But still, so it's an action movie. It's a man's action movie, and my testosterone was going, oh, thank you, Eric, thank you. Oh God, thank you. Can we just give us this once a year? My testosterone was really, blossoming, like with relief. Like trying to, all this time, all my testosterone was trying to be estrogen, because that's what we men have been reduced to. That's what we're supposed to be. We're trying to be women, and every once in a while, my testosterone goes, thank you, Eric, thank you. What a really 2 hours, and I could just, be me, but there was something strange about that movie. And I didn't realize it until I went out. And that is, it's better than most action movies. Better than a lot of action movies. Because the writers understood the core, the emotional core of all this action. It's 90% action, but it's 5% relationship. This guy has no more relationship with his wife. His ex-wife, has married another guy who is, an alpha male, earning more money. So she went with it, and he's a loser. But they have a daughter, and he loves his daughter, and he's estranged with her, of course. But he still feels he is her protector, which is his role, right? That's his testosterone role, right, to protect the family, and so that's what he did. So the whole time he puts his life on the line. And he does all these superhuman feats because of his relationship with his daughter. So he's protecting his family. That's the role he has as a man. And the thing is, without that, it would not have been a good movie. The action scenes would have been the same. It would have been all action, killing Arabs, but it would not have mattered. The scene, the exact same scene, without the motivation of protecting the family, getting the girl back, the daughter back, would have been meaningless. That gives meaning. And that kind of stunned me, because I realized, looking back on life, up to the time when I was, Spider-Man kissing Mary Jane and wishing that he wouldn't do that, mushy. I realized that's the context. Without the context, none of it makes sense. Without the context, it's useless and pointless and empty. And that's just kind of a strange thing to realize. And that's the difference between like a good action movie or a good novel of any kind, a good, male-dominated novel of any kind, is that you can put as much action in as you want, as much testosterone stuff, as much, male kind of stuff as you want. But if you don't have this relationship, love, and that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about love. Then it's there's no emotional relevance. It's you can take it or leave it. It's empty. and it's empty. Even for a man who, when I was a kid, one of the great things, the great creative things I did as a kid was with my friends, practice death scenes, because we love the death scenes in the movies. You shoot someone like and you roll on the ground and you make a big, the bigger death you have, the more blood, here's the blood and my head is rolling off and I lost an arm, and the death scenes and all, and torture scenes, we love that stuff. But all of that, that's the 12-year-old version. I still love the 12-year-old version. But all of that has no context without the Mary Jane scene, without the woman, without the love, without the relationship. And you don't know that instinctively as a boy because you're flooded with the testosterone and with the male things, and you don't realize how important it is to you, even though it is. You don't see that in yourself. You don't see in yourself the importance of love, and that's and even today, I realize that everything I've done in life, and everything I think any man has done in life, has really been about the cat is wandering around here, stepping on things, is really about love, even though we don't know it. We strive for a career, but we're striving for a career without wife and family, without someone to do the career for, is meaningless. We strive for money, but without having someone for whom the money is. If it's just for us, it's meaningless. Even the most superficial man, the yuppie, whatever, he knows without having someone for whom you are doing this, it's empty and meaningless. That was very strange. It's very strange to think that, because we're driven to some kind of success or some kind of, taking a challenge of life or something. We're driven to do things, but we aren't conscious of the context, which is actually we're driven to do it because we want to do it for someone else or something else, or, family or love or something like that. And I think because we don't understand that, love is different for men, and we don't understand love. But I think in the end, it's all about love. I think really, everything I've been striving for in some kind of weird, unattached, disassociated way. I've always wanted to be a great writer, which is social prominence, social dominance. It's like, projecting yourself over other people. It's competition, which is all testosterone. I've always wanted that, but I've never realized that it really is trying to do something for someone else. That's strange. And I think sometimes we don't even know who it is we're doing for. Maybe it's just some kind of abstract love. I think love, we don't understand love as a practical, real thing with actual, people. Just kind of, it's an abstract thing. It's more like a thing that we don't really understand. We have to serve love, but we cannot picture, we don't know what we're serving. We're just doing it. We're like the drones in the hive. We're serving the queen, but we don't actually, we may never know who the queen is. We never see the queen, but we know we're serving her. Okay, so men in love. I'm thinking probably this has all been a nonsense that I've been talking, but there is something there. There is something that men look differently at love, yet love is the core of everything we are and everything we do. Even when we do bullshit, which is often enough, and especially when we do great things, which some of us, not me, but some of us are blessed to be able to do once in a while, once or twice in our lives. And, you know, okay, folks. Here's to all of you guys out there. Know that all your ambitions, if you have ambitions, and I hope you do, you should. It seems like you should. But if you don't, it's fine. I'm not judging, but if you do have ambitions, know that there is a core to your ambitions. You're thinking, without thinking of it, of some woman or some family or some guy or some, something, some kind of love thing that you're thinking of. That's at the core of your drive is, I think, is love. And I hope that we can all, I wish you all success in doing what you should and have to do for love. Good night.